So for this video, I thought I should share how my little SnapMap journey began because I think it might be an interesting watch. I'll probably start briefly how I got into the Doom series. The original Doom was actually the first quote-unquote real video game I played as a kid. Growing up, I remembered I was playing like all these like educational games for the computer. I don't really remember what they were, but you know, going from those games to like Doom was a nice change of pace, you would say, because obviously Doom was like violent, it was it was mature, and it was just such a cool game. Like as a kid, it had so much style points, and I loved the shareware Doom so much, and it was really that game that made me a fan of the series, and I would heavily get into video games because that game was that good. So the Doom series has always been a part of my life for a long time. And now let's fast forward to the, PS3, Xbox 360 era. At that time, Doom 4 was a thing, but its software kept dodging every QuakeCon event at that time because they weren't confident with their game. This was super concerning because obviously I wanted to see what a next-gen Doom would be like at that time. And then finally, it was rebooted to 2016. So fast forwarding to the moment where we had a decent amount of promo content released for the game, and the moment that SnapMap was announced, I remembered being excited. I could tell they were inspired by the mapping community of the old games, and that was surprising because I knew Doom 2016 was going to have at least a campaign and multiplayer mode, but a third big game mode was nice to have for sure. I totally remember players were wondering how limiting the editor was going to be because of all like the resource management aspects that you gotta have, and that was something I was wondering too. However, Doom 2016 was just looking very promising at that time. It was a game that was trying to deliver so much stuff, and that was the right direction for a reboot of such a beloved game like Doom. Now, let's fast forward to the moment that Doom 2016 was finally released. I remembered playing the campaign a lot and trying out multiplayer and SnapMap here and there. The moment I tried out SnapMap, I was disappointed. Like, there was a lot of obvious limitations at the time, and overall it was the weakest mode during the launch day time of Doom 2016. I also remembered it was tough to find any decent levels because the SnapMap hub was different back in the day. It's not like in today's times where you can look up custom geo maps, look up survival maps, all in the category. It wasn't like that. I remember you had to pretty much go through the newest map section to find levels outside of the ones that id Software made, which it really just felt like a bunch of demo maps just to showcase some of the capabilities of SnapMap. Finding a decent level at that time was very rough. I remembered so many maps felt like people didn't put much effort. I also remembered many people were doing the published map achievement thing, and SnapMap just did not make a good first impression. I always had intentions on being more of a player than a mapper, but since finding decent levels were so hard, I just decided to make some levels just to have more campaign content or do 2016 content that isn't the main campaign or multiplayer to play. Honestly, at that time, I did not consider myself to be like a great level designer, but I felt like I could do something better than the stuff I was playing in the newest map section, and I did. I remember I just made like a bunch of random classic Doom remakes because I love the old Dooms so much, and I was just trying my best to make the best with what I had with SnapMap at the time. Nowadays, pretty much all my launch day era levels have not aged well, and I even attempted to make a campaign back then, and I shouldn't have. I really bit more than I chewed. I think eventually, when people stopped spamming so many new maps, like how it was maybe in like the first 3 weeks of the game's inception, I was able to find levels that were actually quote-unquote decent for SnapMap standards at that time. I totally respect those that were trying their best to make those kinds of levels at that time because it wasn't easy. Let's fast forward to Free Update 2. Big update, lots of cool content added. The devs were aware that mappers were making custom geo maps back on the launch day, and we wanted more stuff to promote that. That's what Free Update 2 did, and that's where I started to have more incentive of mapping because the update was so good. My very first custom geo map was basically an Icon of Sin remake, which to be honest, it's not that good nowadays, but back then I thought this was some pretty cool stuff, just trying out all the new content, update and all of that stuff. And during this time I was doing a lot more custom geo mapping and it was a lot of fun. It truly made me feel like this is how SnapMap should have been on day one. Eventually, I made a map called City Survival, and I knew this map was something special. At that time, I was trying to create a cyberpunk themed levels, and back then we had no decals, no real textures, and I managed to find a way to create that kind of map basically. I also wanted to make a survival map that was challenging because most of them weren't really that at the time. I noticed a lot of people were liking this map, and it led me to opportunities or opened up doors. I remembered both Watsta and Pigdog. They both allowed me to work on their collab project. Void Runner got in contact with me because he liked my map, and that would actually led us to making collab projects together. And this map would only help me reach like a lot of crazy milestones. Now fast forwarding to free update 4, where they totally reworked the SnapMap hub to the one that we all know and love to this day. And before id Software spotlit community content, I remembered my city survival map actually got like #1 on multiple categories. I was completely shocked when, you know, it got #1 on the custom geo category, and that was just insane. Like, I saw people hosting my map and some of them would recognize me. People would send me like all like these nice messages and all that stuff, and I never experienced anything like this in any game. So that was really cool, and you know, it was totally awesome to see like people enjoying my work, because at the end of the day I always made like these maps just for myself, and you know, and I just hope like people will find it as cool as I did basically. And not only that map got a lot of exposure, but my other levels did too. And at that time, I knew I was growing as a mapper, and I never thought I would end up being one of the most prolific Doom 2016 mappers of all time. I just wanted to be a player first and mapper second, but no, I was basically a player and a mapper first because SnapMap was so disappointing on launch day, so it just encouraged me to make levels, and I never thought like that would actually like it would actually have like some real value in the long term basically. It is sad that nowadays mappers are not going to be able to experience what I experienced back then, because back in those days there was a lot more activity going on and the scene was bigger. Although keep in mind, you know, Doom SnapMap has always been niche, so it was still like niche. But in today's times it's a lot smaller, and so many big name mappers have left too. That was something I always enjoyed about the old days of Doom SnapMap, like wondering who's going to be the next big mapper that people should keep their eyes on, but those days are pretty much gone. Nowadays, I still make levels just for the love of Doom 2016 because I have a big attachment to SnapMap, and sometimes I do miss mapping when I don't do it for a while. Still though, I'm really proud of what we have done with SnapMap as a whole. When I started playing levels that were better than the base campaigns, I knew SnapMap was going to be the thing that makes me appreciate Doom 2016 very highly in the long term, and it just kind of shows you how special it really is, despite of like its issues and limitations. In this day and age, you just have to have like a lot of passion, you know, if you're making levels for this game in today's times, and I have so much respect for people to making high quality Doom 2016 levels in this time. I've always wondered if there is still a glimpse of hope for a Doom 2016 comeback due to like a viral SnapMap or something, but even if it doesn't happen, there's a lot of cool levels that the community has made, and I've said this before, it's actually better to play Doom SnapMap nowadays compared to like the launch day where there was more activity but the maps were terrible overall. Thank you for watching everybody, and yeah, stay tuned for more SnapMap content, and not really sure what I'm going to upload after this one, but I do got some interesting like ideas in the works, and hopefully you guys will like them when I'm done with them basically. Thank you for watching.